saw this, well, first of all, so this is Dexter 2. I don't know how you say it, but this page on Twitter, they always post a lot of stuff that's going on in the streaming technology, gaming world, so on and so forth. Honestly, I was just going through a lot of content. You could just, you can just have an entire podcast where all you do is go over the clips that go across, also the drama that goes on in these spaces, but the clips that this page posts. And obviously, Kai's one of the biggest streamers, so of course, so something somewhat viral goes on, they're gonna capture it. So if you don't know, in case you missed it, I think over the Father's Day weekend, Cass and I did an IRL stream in New York when he was with his father, and they were going out in New York and having a whole bunch of IRL streaming adventures. Um, and during that, Kai bumped into some kids, and we'll just play it so you guys can see the interaction. But I'm gonna be honest, when I looked at this, I didn't even necessarily know what's the specific thing I wanted to talk about. I just know I kind of wanted to hear you guys' views on it because it's even look at the caption. Kai Cenat attempted to stop brain rot, and there was definitely something that you could potentially classify as brain rot going on in this clip. But let's look at it.
Can we dance for you guys?
You said what?
Can we dance for you?
You want to dance with me? All right, go ahead. Okay, come here. Where y'all learned to move from? Where y'all learned to move?
From music videos that say curse words and you.
Y'all know Speed?
Yes. Yeah. You know
What's-
Didi Osama?
Okay, all right, so you watch Lil Mabu, Didi Osama, Speed, and me. All right, look. Go home, okay? Delete TikTok, delete YouTube, delete Twitch.
What?
No.
I don't-
No. Let me tell you. Delete TikTok, delete YouTube, delete Twitch. Download Coco Melon. You know Coco Melon?
Yeah.
Watch that, okay? Go get a DS. Go play Cooker Mama. Delete all them apps, all right?
Coco Mama. Can we dance for you guys?
Look, snap.
Yo, that was great.
So obviously there's some bit of jest going on. I think from all parties. I think even these kids are probably just intelligent enough to kind of be self-aware of the dynamics, how this looks, but they also are still relatively young. And this is the thing with this IRL stuff, like it's not planned, it's not scripted. Like this generally happened. Some kids bumped into them, and their first reaction was, "Hey, I know this super guy from that he streams. I know all the dancing. I know all the crazy stuff that goes on in his life. All the cars, all the hundreds of thousands of people that watch his streams, and the dancing, everything that goes on, and the loudness, the yelling. We've seen quite a few Net clips on this podcast alone. So again, so they come up to him and they want to dance for him, and they start going over some of the constants that they consume, and he had to take a step back and be like, "So you guys really consume Lil Mabu, my content, Speed," which I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with. I show Speed on here, and he was like, if he just had that moment of like, what's a good example where you like see the future, where you get that. This is me showing my age. That's so Raven. Like I see the future, and these kids' future, their brain's gonna turn to mush if they keep consuming the content. So it's like, go home, delete the TikToks and the Twitches and the YouTubes. I don't know why he recommended them to go watch or consume Coco Melon and or play a cooking game on a Nintendo DS, which these kids probably don't own because they probably own PS5s. But that's neither here nor there.
Just saying that whatever is a kid oriented and kid friendly.
Got you.
For
Got you.
older audiences.
Got you. Fair enough. But yeah, he definitely tried to. He did his best. He do it out there. Obviously, these kids are confused. So, like, why would I go delete Twitch? I watch you on Twitch. Why would I delete TikTok? I see all your clips on TikTok. Why would I delete YouTube? I see all your VODs and stuff on YouTube. That's where I watch Speed. But you gotta give him a salute for at least trying. So I guess again, this raises a lot of probably conversations, but I don't know if I have a direct question. I guess. Real quick, what do you guys think of this interaction? Do you think it's worthwhile for somebody to try to navigate people that obviously consume their content away from it. It's kind of like that thing of like, would anybody respect if who's a good example? I guess the people I'll default to 21 Savage. 21 Savage probably isn't the most graphic or gangster rapper out there. But if 21 Savage tries to direct some little kids from his music, would people respect that? What do you think, Ghost?
And I ain't giving Kai Cenat a salute for shit. Like, I, I I feel like this is probably what he was saying to the kids is more jokey and tongue in cheek, but you're the biggest screamer on Twitch. You know who your audience is. Twitch tells you your demographics. You're aware of your demographics. You see your chat. You know you have children watching you. If you want to exploit that audience and use that audience however you see fit to get those views and all that, go ahead and do it. But you don't get
Well,
to turn around and then flip it and say, when you see him in real life, implying that he wasn't or that the kids shouldn't be watching, they're too young for his content, or he didn't know. Like, go watch Coco Melon, go watch the more age appropriate, blah blah blah. Like, it's too late, bro. You're the problem, and he's not gonna fix it. Like, unless he gets on Twitch and uh, puts up some age restrictions or some shit, or has more.
well, Twitch does have, like, for you going to people's stream, you do have to say they do give you a warning.
Mm, why am I very skeptical about if that actually is implemented or not? But
Is that his
it,
fault?
it's like, come on, like, are we being serious right now? Like, you talk about stop. He's might be the number one brain rot streamer
No,
of,
now
uh,
let's. I'm trying to wait off, but
bro.
let's
Think of all the
let's slow
dumb. No, no,
down.
no, 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 no.
No,
I no.
no,
I
no.
let me see some examples here. We got, first of all, just like his general, the way he conducts his streams, all the fucking screaming and shit and all that, which his prerogative to do if he wants to do that. But all of that screaming, all the shouting, all the dumb shit, all of the, and I don't even be watching the streams heavily, but just as from what I've
Okay,
consumed
we
vicariously,
know, and that's why the statement should be
all
pulled
the
back a
shit
bit.
with all the shit with Duke Dennis, all the shit with
Salute to AMP, salute to
Phantom
Duke, salute to
tags,
Phantom.
all the damn. I I don't feel like getting into a deep dive on it's not stream content, but he has a lot of.
Well, then you can't just jump out the window and say it's the highest level of brain rot on the internet.
Okay, it's not the highest level of brain. We're splitting hairs. The point is that he's
No,
perpetuating a lot of the. My point isn't about him being ranked number one. My point is that he's perpetuating the brain rot and all the stuff that the kids in front of him are doing. That's what is promoted and exemplified in his streams. It is what it is, and if he wants to continue to do that, it is his choice. He can do that all he wants, but you can't turn around and act shocked or want them to not consume your stuff when you know they're gonna go home and turn on your stream, and you're still gonna be streaming. You're not gonna change anything about what you put out there.
well, is there anything else before I jump in?
That's all.
Obviously, there is a lot to combat there, and I don't really want to come in here and be like a Kai Cenat defender, but obviously, there's some things that we can't just spew unless we have the full context. But I'll let you jump in there first, Ace. What do you think of this interaction, and more so because it goes down to focus on Kai, or more so, somebody trying to direct their audience away from their content if it looks like it's potentially negatively impacting them. You think it's justified, or do you think like you're more like Ghost, where they just have to lay it, they just have to sit with it?
I mean, I just from a more general standpoint, I think it's 1,000% justified to do or to attempt to do. Like, yeah, I mean, you mentioned 21 Savage. Like, if he were to go out and say, "My music is not for children," he's right. Like, it's true. So I don't see what I can't see anybody getting upset at him saying that. I mean, it's factually true. He doesn't make music for children. So if we look at Kai Cenat now, and um, he does the same thing. Like he says, his content is not supposed to, it's not his target audience is not children. He doesn't want children to see his content. Um, I view it in a similar way. I don't. I mean, I don't see. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that statement just on its face. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's just like a general answer to a question. And then like my thoughts as far as watching the video, I wasn't. I didn't view it in a like doubting way or like this was fake or anything like that. I do think seeing see I mean even like seeing numbers online, seeing or interacting with people online is different from going to an elementary school, which I'm sure he doesn't do every day, and seeing children acting out the things that you don't you don't want to see children acting out, or you don't want to see have being associated with children. Like it's not good for them, and you see it firsthand. It's like I could see that being a shock to somebody. Again, I don't know his daily life. I don't know how many like how how in tune he is with his fan base. Like if he has meetups or whatever, and he has a bunch of kids coming to him, or if
Well, they
it's
tried that once in New York and got arrested for it.
gotcha. Oh yeah, I think I heard about that. But
They had so
but
much
yeah,
kids
more.
rioting
I'm
out there.
talking. Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
talking like more on a personal level because obviously, like you just got thousands of people trying to see you. That's different. But yeah, just like in this is a very personal set. It's not a bunch of people. It's just a few kids who called him out, and now he's seeing this thing firsthand. I can see that as being like kind of a wake up call. If that's true or not, I maybe Ghost is right. It's not. It's he's. But I don't I give him the benefit of the doubt in that way. Um
You're telling me he hasn't ever seen any children before this moment that are perpetuating this content in front of him? Never before.
I mean, maybe it wasn't as clear before. Like again, in a setting like this, I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, so there's a couple things to address and trying to part. I don't even know where to start here. Okay, let's just kind of take it step by step. Okay, so I totally hear a lot of what y'all are saying. Um, I guess the first part is like the children aspect. So this kind of gives some more context. Um, his like stream is obviously not age gated, but it does give a warning. You have to consent to being of age to consume it. But I think that's primarily because of the fact that during streams is going to be using curse words. There might be some provocative provocativeness. Is that a word? When women are involved, they're playing games that are sort of a certain rating. Sometimes GTA are involved. They're currently doing at time of recording. They're doing a 100-hour subathon stream of playing Elden Ring. So I think the content of what the stream could entail is what leads to the age, the rating for the content. That being said, I don't think Kai and maybe even AMP at its heart isn't for children. That's one of the elements I'm kind of confused about here. Like, obviously, again, yes, if there's swearing and some things are provocative going on, that's not for children. But just like dancing and having high energy, even the yelling, like all that, that's reacting to things, having that energy. that WL community energy, that doesn't necessarily make it not for kids. So I think if kids are interacting with it, like I think we just have to kind of see the distinction in what's kind of going on here. Um, and I bring that up because I mean, okay, so if they know their if they know their demographic based off what the analytics that Twitch gives them, and obviously they've achieved success that they have doing what they're doing, like what would a person in their position do just because because kids are interacting with content that I'm not even necessarily they like, and they've also gone on record saying they're not making content for kids. So I'm a bit kind of confused about how they're in any shape or form in the wrong in this scenario.
So, to address that last point real quick, they can think, or if they get the data from Twitch and it's telling them one thing, and they think, well, our intent wasn't to make it for kids. So
Mm-hmm.
technically, we're not doing anything wrong, even if kids are mostly watching it and they do nothing. They can do that, but then don't get all high and mighty and get shocked that kids are watching your streams because
He's not shocked
you're
that kids are
not.
watching the stream. I don't think anyone's. I
Really?
don't think anyone's ever shocked about who's consuming their content unless they're like a adult entertainer.
Didn't we just have this whole tangent about him seeing it and it kind of being a surprise to him that it's having this much of an effect on the kids? Like, I kind of feel like
Yeah, I
that
would
implies.
say
Well, the specific way they're interacting with them, and the other, and I think specifically the alarming thing is the other content creators that they consume. If a kid came up to him and they were just like, "Hey, I love your stream. Can you like say something that you say on a streamer a lot?" I don't think he would look at. I don't think he would go up to that kid and say, "Hey, don't watch me." It was, I think, specifically because of how they were interacting with them and the other content creators that they consume.
mm,
Like they mentioned, who's the rapper they mentioned that ZZ Osama. Like I think I mentioned 21 Savage. If a young kid listens to music like that, that's something that needs. I would say that's something that maybe needs to be addressed.
He's in the same vein as them though. Like, if the kids are watching all of them, you can't exclude himself from that and say, "Oh, I'm separate from them. They're doing this thing, but I'm completely different, but they're still watching me."
I
No,
don't.
that's not how
I
it
don't think. I don't think
works.
in this conversation we're trying to separate them. I think in what they said about hey delete all of it and don't watch me or get rid of the content, get rid of the platform that I'm on, and stop watching them as well. I think there's no one's here trying to separate them. I'm just bringing up that's some
Well,
of the more alarming aspects of this interaction.
if you don't do anything in response to being alarmed, and you continue to maintain your status quo, you can he can say what he wants. And again, we're kind of I'm not trying to put anything in his mouth specifically, just in this specific scenario hypothetically you brought up. If they saw the demographics, they see who's listening, who's watching. They know that kids are being exposed to what he's uh, putting out there, and he sees it and thinks, "Oh, I'm so concerned," but doesn't do anything to address it. That's literally pointless, and he should not get any. Uh, there shouldn't be any form of absolving because of
So
that. Like,
if you were we are content creator. So if you had a platform and you made it for adults, like it was 18 and up, but some kid saw it and consumed it, you wouldn't tell them to this is not for you.
telling them it's for not for okay. I have a perfect equivalency.
I mean, I just asked you a question, but fair enough.
To answer your question, I'm going to give you an example.
And the thing is, I don't want to ask that question because I don't necessarily think it's like a kid thing. But sorry, go ahead.
All right, yeah, we could delve into that. But what I was going to say is porn sites.
I mean,
Porn sites
I
have a
brought up adult,
disclaimer on them. You have to be over 18 to watch it, blah, blah,
right?
blah. That they know kids do not follow. And even though they have the liability wise, they can technically say, oh, there's a disclaimer there. Like, children aren't supposed to be watching it. it literally doesn't do anything because it's not stopping them. There's no form of age verification, so they
Not
can
yet.
express their
That's like
regrets
the
and
GTA route.
yeah, I think they're actually in like Texas something they were trying to do something different. I don't know the full details, but they can express a regret all they want and say that it's not meant for kids, it's meant for adults. But at the end of the day, if kids are consuming it, you're not doing anything to solve the problem.
The thing is, I don't necessarily want to go down this specific route of focusing on adult entertainment because, like, then what are we getting into? Like, all adult entertainers to quit their job or quit doing
I'm
that?
not. I'm not
Yeah,
even
man.
saying that. I'm
Even
not saying there's a solution or an easy way to solve this, but
But
it's
it could,
like
but it wouldn't. But nobody would look at. I think people look at them like they're doing the probably correct thing to do to tell somebody that shouldn't consume their content for
yes,
whatever reason
it's
that
the
no, don't
correct
do it.
thing, but it's functionally pointless. It does nothing. Even if you can say that you're
How are we
doing the right thing,
how
you're
are we
not actually
quantifying or
doing it
qualifying how pointless it is or not?
yeah,
because it's
I
not.
mean,
It's not.
he may be convinced the kids
Are
not
you
to watch it.
kidding? Are you? Come on.
Well,
Are we being real here? Are we
I'm
being
not
real on this?
I'm not focused on the specific interaction. Yes, these kids might be too far gone for unfortunately or not. I'm just saying in general, if somebody has content they're putting out that's of negatively affecting somebody, like take out the kids. Say there was 18. Say these were 18-year olds. I mean, still kids. Say they were adults and they're consuming content and they're behaving like these kids. And then Kai was like, "Hey, well, you should turn that off. Go read a book or go consume something else." What would you say to that?
Kids, in this case, those kids that were in the video are, it would be different because they are extremely impressionable and you can tell kids one thing, but your actions are going to dictate what they follow and what they actually end up doing. I mean, we
Well,
all know how kids' brains works. You
I
can
mean,
tell a
this
kid
is true, but now
something.
if we're getting to the actual like, okay, well, someone should solve the problem. Then the bigger thing would be to go talk to the kid's parents.
I'm not even saying Kai has. I'm not even saying like in general it's an easy problem to solve. But I'm just saying you can't act surprised that saying saying something one time and then continuing your same pattern of behavior that the kids are mimicking or following in some aspect is going to actually do anything because it's not.
I don't want to jump out the window,
It
but
sounds like you're
What?
conflating the
What?
clip,
What?
though.
this
You're
sounds like
conflating the clip because
I will because you sound like you jump. I don't think you believe this. Like now
What? Okay.
let's just
How
dial
do
this
you
back.
really think that it's? Do you really think that? I'm not even trying to be specific, just to branch it out and not even talk about Kai specifically. You really think that in a scenario where kids are consuming something, that just telling them no, this is wrong is do anything? You don't change your actions as doing anything? You really believe that?
First of all, I'm probably the most like when it comes to kids, and I probably have the least amount of faith out of everyone here. But one, it's no harm in doing it, just the action of hey kids, like don't do something. I'm pretty sure a kid probably. I mean, again, these kids might be too far gone. I'm not talking about the specific instance, but a kid probably will be more likely to listen to somebody who they look up to in some degree. Opposed to some random person. One and yeah, and that's the one and the two. Like, and there's no one is no harm in it, and two, they probably a kid probably would be more likely to listen to the person in question. Sorry, you were saying something else.
So there's a kid at a candy
Never mind.
store eating all the candy when they shouldn't be. You walk up to him, say, "Hey, don't do that." You turn around and walk out the
why you
door and
say
leave.
you? We're talking about the person that they
I'm
emulate,
just
the person that they
I'm
look up
being
to the most.
when I say you, I'm just saying like a general you.
I know,
Like
but I'm saying
it's
why.
Well,
That's not what you're
the U is
saying.
important.
You're
It's not.
saying the you is the person that they look up to the most, the person that they're literally emulating is the person that's telling them not to do that, not to do something. they are more likely to listen to that person because the person that influences them most.
Even if that person was on video in can, this is a crazy scenario, but if that person was streaming themselves doing something similar to what they're doing, and then they see the kid out and about and they tell him not to do it, and it's the same thing that they're doing.
Yes, going with your analogy, even if you have a candy maker in the store on stream eating the candy, if the kids are in the store eating candy and acting crazy because of it, the guys who make candy can go up to the kids and be like, "Hey, don't do this," because again, there's no harm in that, and um, they might listen to them if they truly respect the candy maker.
There's
Candy
things that
maker,
kids
like
there's things that
You brought up
adults
the analogy.
can
Don't
do,
dare try to
adults
come at
can
me.
do on
I'm just
camera that kids can't do. If the adult tells the kid not to do it, uh, how is that a bad thing? If the adult is drinking and they tell the kid not to drink because you're too young, don't do it. Like, how is that a bad thing?
if you tell the kid this thing and you don't do anything to solve the problem, like if in the scenario talking about with the drinking, if you're on stream drinking all the time, the kid's watching your stream, the kid's drinking, you tell a kid, hey, don't do that. You're right. You guys are right. It's technically there's what you should be doing is telling them not to drink. Like you should be doing that. But realistically, if you turn around then you walk away and you leave them to their own devices
What do
afterwards
you
and you
expect them to
continue
do?
going
Go
on
follow the
stream.
kids home, make sure they delete the apps. Like, and also, I think what I was trying to get at is I feel like you're conflating this whole thing. Like, Kaya's getting on a pedestal now because somebody just recorded this IRL interaction that he had. He told some kids not to watch his stream and stuff. Where is the he got on a pedestal and
I'm not saying he
he did
got
all
on a
this stuff?
pedestal. There's nothing wrong with what he did.
You
But
definitely
what
make it seem like it is.
the thing that is wrong and that's incorrect is thinking that there's any good that's actually going to come out of it because there's not.
Did he even say that? Like all
I'm
he
not
did
talking.
was
I'm
did
not
what
talking
he
about.
could do
I'm not.
in the moment. He could tell the kids not to watch his stream. Who said he left the interaction now he thinking I did some good or I had an effect on kids in general or even these kids specifically. I just saw him walk away and probably contemplate like damn like I'm affecting the lives of kids like this, the kids that I just saw in real life, not people typing on the thing and whatever. Like he saw a real life group of children that
You're
are being
telling me that
affected by
he
this.
hasn't this. He hasn't experienced this before. The biggest, literal, biggest streamer in the world. This has never happened to him.
Quest
When
explained
it,
this
what,
point already.
Like we hear your points you bringing up, Ghost, but it's like it almost don't necessarily matter. It could be the first time. It could have been the thousandth time. The way he interacted with the situation is the way he interacted. Like it is what it is, and
it
none
is
of
what
it,
it is, but it's not
none
gonna
of it negates
change
that.
anything.
I mean, if you and that gets into all the
No,
territory.
Like, I don't
That
even
kind of
think
gets
that's
back to like the other
counted.
topic we were talking about. Like, okay, like are we thinking about change? Are we fixing the entire problem? Are we thinking about potentially doing something that's not harmful to this specific instance? It's kind of
he can do it all
interesting.
he wants, but it's not gonna actually do anything.
And who are you to even say that? Like that's such a wild claim. Like it's it's like nobody could ever say this to it wouldn't affect them at all. Like again, if you are so pessimistic about kids and how they interact with this type of content, that's fine. But I mean, it's still like a kind of a lofty claim to make.
Okay, I don't think. I hope I'm wrong. I just.
I don't even.
I mean, if we're
I don't
being
even.
realistic here,
I don't
like,
even
come
know
on.
what you've consumed in
We
your
can hope.
lifetime to think otherwise. Like this is the type
What
of
do you
thing that
mean?
takes like to think that like would you agree like these kids are like not these kids but like kids are that consume this type of content are brain rotted like they're too far gone and it doesn't and telling them giving them alternatives things that they should consume is like
I'm telling you that if I was that kid in that situation, what Kai said to me, that would not have made any difference at all. Like I would have gone home and turned on the stream. What you mean? And if we're
So
being
yeah,
realistic,
so
that's
yeah, that goes to my
99% of kids.
yeah. So that
Like
you're going
again,
based off you, which is I get it, but that's
okay, what you're saying, all the stuff you guys are saying is like mostly right. Like there's nothing wrong. It's the correct thing, the positive thing for him to have said that, for him to correct the kids, and hopefully it's going to make a difference. But realistically, this is a real world we're talking about. It's not going to change anything. That's what I'm saying. I could be wrong. I maybe I am wrong and I'm misguided, but I that's what I believe based on
okay. And I think
literally every kid that I've seen in my
and I
life.
think to tie it back to maybe the other topic, I think yes, we agree. This interaction, even if somebody like him had this interaction with a bunch of like a lot of a good portion of the audience, it probably in the grand scheme, just like giving money to every homeless person that you come across in your lifetime, it doesn't affect the overall problem. No, it doesn't. But it don't hurt, and people shouldn't be demotivated in doing things like it. Is that fair? Do we pretty much
That's
agree with?
fair, but I think that it also has to tie back with I don't know. I'm not gonna tell him he needs to change his whole platform, change his the way he does everything, but if he just continues going about his business and streaming the same exact way, it's not having a real effect on anything. And the words that he or his sentiment that he may or may not have had would ring hollow because it's not, again, actually doing anything.
Fair enough. I mean, it's just like you, with that type of thinking, like you just kind of put you just. It's just like
What's
it's
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 not
like
shit.
it's like a dud. It's, the reason why it's like you're potentially right, but it's like a dud to think about because like okay, so then we expand it out. Okay, so say he completely changes up his content. He's no longer yelling. He's no longer doing anything pretty funny. Just he's basically doing educational content. He's let's say he does that. Okay, but then there's hundreds of other streamers that are still going to do that content. So it's like we can continue like look at the overall situation in society and be like, okay, this has no effect. Okay, this has no effect. This has no effect. It's not like in order to really change something, we need to like shut off the internet, and maybe that even won't have an effect. It's like you're not wrong per se, but it's like I don't know if we need to get down the rabbit hole of being pessimistic for the sake of what.
Even about, I mean, it's partially about being pessimistic, although I won't say that.
It's
But
it's
my
100.
thing
There's
is more
nothing about the
so
conversation that you're saying that isn't pessimistic.
my thing is even though I am being pessimistic, my focus was you can say whatever he wants, but if actions aren't changing, then there's gonna be no net realistic uh change afterwards. That's what I think.
Well, we agree on
You
the
can
grand scheme of
say
things.
you can
Yes,
say what he wants,
we
but
agree.
it's not really doing anything.
Just like you can give homeless to money to a homeless person. Yeah, we get it. Um, yeah. There was one other thing I was gonna think. Oh, again, so it's Kai. Regardless of negative opinions they could have on them, super hardworking. Like I said, literally doing a long ass stream. Man, we'd be streaming for like better for 3 hours, and I'm already like ready to go. So definitely hardworking. And you know what I will say, and I don't know, your comment kind of made me question it, even though I know, I think I know enough about your ghosts to know that's not the case. One thing I will say, I don't know if it's, I think you gotta give a lot of credit to our parents, our upbringing, and maybe a bit of just how our makeup. Cause other thing I was thinking about watching this clip, I can't imagine myself. I'll speak for myself as a kid of any person that could have came up, and I would have acted like this. Like I was literally got like maybe Will Smith back in the day, and I'm not definitely not act like that. Maybe something, maybe like Keenan and Kel. Like it's and obviously we know we're different generations and things, but yeah, it's just very just like again, there's nobody I don't think that I could have acted like this.
Yeah.
Anybody
Yeah,
come to
that's
anybody come to
that's
y'all
pretty
mind,
much
or
it.
is it, or am I kind of on the same page about just the way we were brought up and all the dynamics around us? Like we weren't getting starstruck as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, and if we were, it wouldn't have been manifested itself this way. Like they're just extremely comfortable with um an adult. Like it's just kind of weird, but I think it
Oh,
is a lot of upbringing
that
too.
is what you said actually, and that's the internet for you. That's one of the changes that people don't talk about. Kids are rarely comfortable with adults and maybe other humans in general. Yeah, it would have been a freaking Goku came out of nowhere, and that I'll get hyped for
That's what I
Goku.
was thinking. Like Goku pop out of nowhere, like anime
Be
character.
funny, obviously in front of Goku and Piccolo trying to turn Super Saiyan. That's the best I could have done when I was a kid. But I think we spent a good enough amount of time on this. If nothing else, we can move on to the next topic.